Alright, today we're starting the trig chapter 11. We're going to start this with something everybody's pretty familiar with, the Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean theorem essentially says that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This is a property of right triangles. Okay, it has to be right triangle, which means a 90-degree angle. And it says A is the leg, B is the leg, C is the hypotenuse. The square of one leg plus the square of another leg is equal to the square of the hypotenuse. So if we look at this example and we're looking for A, we have A, this is B, this is C, then we can say that A squared plus 8 squared is equal to 10 squared. In other words, a squared plus 64 is equal to 100. We can solve this for a by subtracting 64, and we get a squared is equal to 36. Square rooting both sides tells us that a is equal to 6. Of course, this has two solutions, positive 6 and negative 6. However, we don't care about the negative value because the leg of a triangle cannot be negative. So A is 6 inches in this case. The units are inches, so we do want to include the units here. Okay, number 2, find the missing length. Express the answer as a simplified radical. Alright, so our Pythagorean theorem is going to work here because this is a right triangle. This is A, this is B, and this is C. So we can say that 5 squared plus 5 squared is equal to c squared. So 25 plus 25 is equal to c squared. Or in other words, 50 is equal to c squared. Square rooting both sides tells us that c is equal to the square root of 50. And it says a simplified radical, so we do want to simplify that radical. So 50 can be written as 25 times 2. And the square root of 25 is 5, so that's 5 root 2. So c is equal to 5 root 2. That is the length, 5 root 2.
Thank you for your patience. Teachers, you may now release the students.
Alright, find the missing length expressed as a simplified radical. Alright, so here is the, here's the right triangle, or the right angle. So the two legs are here and here. And so here's C, which is the hypotenuse. So we have 10 squared plus B squared is equal to 14 squared. So 100 plus B squared is equal to 14 squared, which is 196. Solving this for B squared, I can subtract 100. So I got B squared is equal to 96. Square rooting both sides give me b is equal to the square root of 96. Let's see, 96 is divisible by 4. Is it divisible by 16? Yeah. So square root of 96 can be written as square root of 16 times 4. Sorry, 6. Because 16 times 6 is 96. And the square root of 16 is 4. So that can be written as 4 root 6. So B is 4 root 6. So the length here, 4 root 6 feet. Find the missing length expressed as a simplified radical. This is a right triangle with our right angle right here. So we got A, I guess in this case it's X, we got B, and we got C. So we got A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. So a squared plus 4 is equal to 16. Subtracting 4 will solve for a squared. A squared is equal to 12, which means a is equal to the square root of 12. Square root of 12 can be expressed as the square root of 4 times 3, and the square root of 4 is 2. So a is equal to 2 root 3. So this length is 2 root 3. Find the distance from the bottom of the ladder to the wall. From the bottom of the ladder to the wall. Okay. So this is a right angle right here. We'll call this A. Call this B, which is what we're looking for, and we'll call this C. So we got A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. So 144 plus B squared is equal to 169. Subtracting 144 gives us 25. B squared is equal to 25, which means B is equal to the square root of 25, which is 5. So this ladder is 5 meters, because the unit is meters, as 5 meters from the wall. Find the missing length. Okay, so here's the right angle, here's the two legs. So the first leg, 8 squared plus B squared is equal to 17 squared. 64 plus B squared is equal to 17 squared, which is 289. Subtracting 64 so that we can solve for B squared. 289 minus 64 is 225. And square rooting both sides, the square root of 225 is 15. So this side right here is 15 kilometers. Okay, because our units here are kilometers. A right triangle has side lengths 5 and 6 meters. Find the hypotenuse, which is C. Okay, so we got 5 squared plus 6 squared is equal to C squared. So 25 plus 36 is equal to C squared. So 3, 4, 5, 61 is equal to C squared, which is 25 plus 36 is 61. Well, 61 I think is prime. 1 divided by 7. Yeah, I don't know what 61 is divisible by. I don't think it's divisible by anything. So C, square rooting both sides, we get C is equal to the square root of 61. So the square root of 61 meters. And I don't think that simplifies to anything. 61 not divisible by any prime numbers or any squares. So we'll just leave that as the square root of 61. Would a triangle with the following sides be a right triangle? Okay, now it doesn't tell you which ones are the legs and which ones are the hypotenuse, but the longest one has to be the hypotenuse. Okay, so we need to know, is this a right triangle? 8, 10, 12. In other words, is 8 squared plus 10 squared equal to 12 squared? 64 plus 100, 144, I don't think so. That does not look like they are equal, because that's 164 and that's 144. So that's not a right triangle. How about for this one, 9, 12, and 15? Okay, so 9 squared plus 12 squared is equal to 15 squared. So 81 plus 144 is equal to 15 squared, 225. 81 plus 144 is indeed equal to 225. So this one, letter A is no, it's not a right triangle because the Pythagorean theorem doesn't work, but letter B is yes, it is a right triangle because the Pythagorean theorem does work. Okay, so very easy to tell if a triangle is a right triangle because the Pythagorean theorem only works for right triangles.